Hi everyone, I'm going to take you through our next assignment for food and hospitality, which focuses on plate presentation and high-risk foods. So the assessment is to individually prepare a main meal or dessert that uses 1 to 2 high-risk ingredients and demonstrates a contemporary food presentation style. Okay, so there's 2 parts to it. We're looking at high-risk foods and plate presentation. You're going to need to write an action plan, which is 400 words, complete the individual practical, and then also reflect in 400 words as well. And this assessment task has all the guidelines that you need, as well as some formative activities in there so that you can work through and learn about high-risk ingredients, learn about plate presentation, and then apply it to this assignment. So let's scroll down. Here's just some information about how you need to submit your work onto Sector, so saving the file name, okay, with those details. All right, so we've read through our design brief, which is to individually prepare a main meal or dessert using 1 to 2 high-risk ingredients and demonstrating a contemporary food presentation style. So our first step is you are going to have to complete an action plan. So aim, which is the bolded sentence, okay, above. Here, this is our aim of the assessment. You need to discuss the possible issues and strategies, make a decision, okay, and then justify your decision and complete an implementation plan. This is just a quick rough guide to show you. However, further down, there is a step-by-step breakdown, okay? Your practical application, so you're going to have a double lesson, okay, to complete this, present it, cook it, clean up, everything like that, as well as definitely taking pictures. And then you need to complete a reflection, which is 400 words plus an evidence sheet. So if we scroll down, this is everything you're getting assessed on, okay, your problem solving, practical, and then there's your reflection, okay? This problem solving here is your action plan. Okay, so this is the outline for the action plan, okay? So the aim is already here, okay? Issues and strategies. Now, everything in purple and blue, you are going to have to rewrite and then obviously at the end get it out of purple and blue and pop it in black, okay? But it's here to support you so that you can do this properly. 400 words may seem like a lot, but it definitely isn't. So you need to make sure that you are writing clearly and concisely and not beating around the bush. Straight away, telling us your decision and why you have chosen it, justifying it, okay? Or listing an issue or a constraint and then describing the strategy that you're going to use to overcome that. So identify the criteria and issues associated with a practical task. So if we look up here, individually preparing a main meal or dessert, using high-risk ingredients, demonstrating a contemporary food presentation style. Okay, you have a 90-minute lesson. These are some issues or some constraints that might pop up. You then need to explain any considerations and strategies that you will use to meet the criteria or resolve the issue. Okay, this can be presented as dot points, as a mind map, or a small paragraph. So an example here. The chosen recipe must include 1 to 2 high-risk ingredients, and we will look at high-risk ingredients as a class together. However, it's like meat, fish, dairy, eggs. They are a general high-risk food, as well as things like rice and pasta, okay? Looking at if they're not stored correctly or heated up to a certain temperature, bacteria growth and making you sick, okay? But we'll do some more learning around that. So 1 to 2 high-risk ingredients. High-risk foods include dairy products, chicken, rice, etc. These foods must be handled correctly to avoid them becoming unsafe for consumption. Therefore, research will be completed into FATM, which we're going to learn about, prior to preparing the recipe. Beautiful. So you've listed what the issue is, and then you've said how you're going to overcome that or how you're going to manage that. Okay? And the issues are actually listed here. If you want to change some of them, you're more than welcome to. However, it's given to you there, and then you can go on and write your own strategy. If we look here, the decision, you don't need to tell me a huge story about it. You simply need to tell me what recipe you're going to cook. Chicken wrapped in prosciutto with on a bed of rice or something like that, okay? And then how you're going to present it. We're going to look at that in more depth as well. And then the high-risk foods that it includes. Literally 3 sentences there. Your word count is very important in this, okay? And it's more important to be used on your decisions and identifying risks, okay? So, reasons for decision and implementation. Explain the reasons for your decision, addressing how and why. These should match with the numbered points in the issues to consider and strategies. Okay, so they relate together. This here relates to this number 1 up here. Okay, you need to keep them together. So, reasons why your recipe is suitable in regards to high-risk foods. How are you going to implement the care of them? Be specific. So the sticky date pudding meets the high-risk ingredient requirement of the task as it includes milk and cream. If these foods are not stored and handled correctly, they can produce harmful bacteria. Therefore, the dairy products will be kept in the fridge below 5 degrees until required, Okay? Reasons why your recipe is suited to your chosen recipe style. How you implement this. Pastry brush for a smear, etc. Okay, so that relates to the meal must demonstrate a contemporary food presentation style. So this is an issue. You've picked your recipe and then you're justifying how that issue is going to be managed or is okay and suitable based on the recipe that you've chosen. I hope that makes sense, but yeah, really try and relate these numbers here to these numbers up here. So the dish must be a main meal or a dessert. Well, that's very easy. Sticky date pudding, for this example, is 100% a dessert. Okay, so you can discuss it like that. And that justifies that you're meeting the considerations of the task with the recipe that you've chosen. Okay, but it explicitly tells someone, okay, so that if they don't know, you're explicitly telling me why the recipe you have made meets the requirements of the task. Okay, and 400 words is all you get, so clear and concise. Hope that makes sense. You're then going to do the presentation, okay, so really important. The practical, you're then going to do the prac, and then you are going to write an evidence sheet. So throughout, you need to be taking photos, and you're going to have to prove in dot point answers here how you implemented safe management practices. So there might be a picture of you wearing an apron, a picture of you with a claw grip while chopping, okay, things like that. Pictures are everything, because when it comes to SACE, and if the task is to be moderated, this is what the SACE board are going to look at as evidence of you doing the right thing, not just me saying, yeah, you did, okay? You are then going to reflect, all right? 400 words reflecting on the prac. There are 3 dot points here that can help guide you. There are mini questions within those. So discussing the processes you went through to cook your practical, reflecting on the outcome, and the impact that high-risk foods and plate presentation have in the food and hospitality industry. Okay, so 3 points, 400 words, and that's the assessment. All right. If we move down, we have all of these activities below here. So all of this is going to be available on Sector, and it is a necessity that you do them. Okay, really important. We're going to look at food safety and plate presentation all together. Okay, but there will be some homework that you need to do, and it's this formative learning here that is really going to help you be able to do this assessment well. So there's all these tasks, video to watch, and responding to some questions. Some plate presentation activities here, some sketching. And then we are actually, while you're doing all of this investigating and writing your action plan, we are going to break up our theory lesson time with some pracs as well. So these formative recipes explicitly relate to food safety and plate presentation. So there's a chicken with herbed sour cream and crispy potatoes. Right? Sauces are also a high-risk food if they're not stored correctly, like in airtight jars. Air can get onto them and bacteria can grow, things like that. You'll learn all about it. Okay, we're going to speak about that. A deconstructed lemon tart, so looking at a deconstructed plate presentation, which is quite tricky to manage, okay? And then also a sticky date pudding. We might not get time to do all three, however, we are going to aim to do 3, and then you will do your practical as well by yourself. Now, as a class, you'll be split up into groups A and B. So groups A will cook in one double and B will cook in the other double, just because of the size of the class. Okay? And that is it. So please, please, please have a look on Sector. Make sure you're keeping up with all of the formative work, and make sure you are using your lesson time wisely to complete the action plan, and using draft opportunities as well, especially for the action plan and the reflection. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know.